When we were last in the Kent coastal town of Ramsgate, property developer Alex from London had just paid £142,000 for this three-storey end of town. It was a complete wreck, and we weren't allowed inside. But the property did have planning permission for conversion into 3 flats, although Alex was hoping to have that increased to 4. Fortunately, his brother Leon is a structural engineer. Trouble was, he hadn't seen the property. Well, 8 months later, we're back. The house is still standing, but is the scaffolding holding it together or part of the rebuild? Alex's brother must have got quite a shock when he saw the place.
Yeah, it was in quite bad condition as a building. He'd seen many sort of run-down buildings in his career, but I think this is one of the worst he'd seen.
Yes, it was bad, but not terminal. Alex's brother reckoned it could be fixed, so what's the timetable been for the work?
First of all, we have to get the scaffolding structure erected, because the council, they're actually going to condemn the building. I think people have complained that the wall was sort of looking dangerous, and obviously people who live down this road wanted that to be sort of erected straight away, basically. Otherwise, the council would have done it themselves and charged us a lot of money.
So, shoring up the end of the terrace was a top priority. Then the challenge was to find someone to restore and convert the building into the 3 flats.
To find the builder was quite hard, actually, because due to the sort of condition of the building, not many people wanted to take on the project. So we actually managed to get about 10 quotes in the end, and only 2 people came back with an actual price.
We've all experienced that, but it's normally to have a ceiling skimmed or a shed put up. This was tendering big time, and the estimates varied considerably.
Well, the price of the quotes are actually very, very different. One was up to sort of 300,000, one sort of 150, and then he actually came back with, just to do sort of shell building, was 80,000, which we're quite pleased with, and I think that's quite competitive.
Alex paid £142,000 for the property and has now spent a further £80,000 on the structural work just to make the building safe. So, how bad was this place? Alex's builder certainly got a shock.
It was really, really bad. One of the worst I've seen. It was the total centre part of the building had been had rotten, and you couldn't get from one side to the other. We've got a large timber beam running through the front, which has started to bow with the water coming in. We've now put acros in to hold that up, and then we've replaced all the walls, all the joists, made it sort of structurally sound again as a building.
Once the building is secure, what does Alex intend to do with his investment?
Well, basically the plan is, it's got permission for 3 one-bedroom flats, one on the ground, first and second floor. In the moment we're obviously trying for the 4th flat in the basement, which is going to be the same layout as all the others.
If Alex is successful, that 4th flat will increase the potential profit from the site. So, how much does he reckon each flat will be worth? And more importantly, what's the total development cost going to be?
Well, we're aiming to sell each flat for about 115,000, so that roughly that's about 345,000. Build costs come in about 120, and we bought it in for about 140, so those figures about 260 at the moment, so we'll still be in profit with those figures.
With just 3 flats, there's a projected gross profit of 85,000. Obtaining planning permission to add that lucrative 4th flat could come down to parking. Ramsgate Council insist on off-street spaces, but Alex is in discussion with a neighbour to buy a piece of land at the back of her house.
Well, regarding the basement flat, here's the entrance to it, and this is our boundary to the basement flat. And this is the extra piece of land that we might look to negotiate to buy in the future. And this would obviously make a big difference to our planning application.
Not surprisingly, it's all come down to money. The seller is looking for £15,000 for the land, and Alex reckons 9 to 10,000 is a fair price. Irrespective of the planning, Alex is getting some work done in preparation for that proposed 4th flat.
Well, here we are. As you can see, we've already started works. The builder's here on site, and it'd be silly not to start. Purely from a cost point of view, it's obviously going to be a lot cheaper while it's here. So fingers crossed, land negotiations go well and the planning application goes well.
70% of the refurbishment work is being funded from a bank loan and 30% from Alex's own funds. Remember though, Ramsgate Council offer interest-free loans to do up derelict properties, so did Alex not consider applying for one of those?
We did look into the loans with the council. It seemed like a quite good reasonable deal at the time, but we decided not to take it up because we wouldn't be able to get the finance with the bank, and the sort of the extra amount that we got in money would be sort of so insignificant it wasn't really worth taking out.
Let's see how 2 local agents rate Alex's investment in this wobbly property.
The property that obviously needs some finishing off as such, but it's a good location for flats here. Flats do sell quite readily on the west side of Ramsgate, so it's a good location for the town centre and the seafront.
I think the fact that the building's still standing is great. There are huge structural issues which have obviously been addressed or being addressed by the builders.
Getting parking for the lower ground floor flat is essential, as parking is a premium and would definitely make the flat more saleable.
I think with regards to the land to the rear of the property, if they can get hold of that and get the planning permission passed for the basement or lower ground floor flat, then that's really crucial to the whole development working for them from a financial point of view.
Getting valuations off plan is never easy. Alex is hoping to sell each flat for around 115,000, but what do two agents think?
If I was to market these flats today, I'd be looking at marketing them for about £110,000 each.
A one-bedroom conversion flat within this building, you'd hopefully achieve between £105,000 to £110,000. Well, I'd say that's quite in line with what we expected, about £115,000, and so we expect to achieve that kind of figure.
Once the conversion's finished, be it 3 or 4 flats, how many will Alex hold on to?
We'll definitely look to get rid of 3 of them, but we might keep on to the 4 to rent out, but we'll look to the sort of values at a later date.
I can't wait. Let's get an idea now as we have our agents on site.
A one-bed conversion within this building for rentals, you'd be looking between £425 to £450 per calendar month.
I think per calendar month, the rental value on the properties would be between £475 to £500 per month.
Yeah, again, those values sound reasonable, but like I say, we're looking to sell.
Any purchaser shopping around for a flat should certainly spot this building all right. It's obviously got a checkered history, but will it be part of the new development?
Yeah, it turns out there is a sign there for Richmond stores, and obviously that uncovers the past of the property, but for flats it wouldn't look very well, so we're going to get rid of the sign, unfortunately.
Maybe there's no need to keep the shop sign. Now the roof's fixed and safely back on, this property is no longer open all hours.